My name is Valerie. I'm 34 years old, and 3 years ago, my entire life unraveled. But back then, things were calm. I had a job I loved, graphic designer at a boutique agency in Chicago. I had a husband, Mark, charming, supportive, or so I thought. And I had a best friend, Lena. We met in college. She was like the sister I never had. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine, structured, predictable. Until the night I got a call. A client meeting had been canceled. I came home early, and what I saw that night didn't just break my heart. It cracked open a door I never knew existed. Behind it, lies, betrayal, and eventually, revenge. But we're not there yet. Let me take you back to the moment before the storm, when I still believed I was loved. I met Mark during my senior year of college. He was charismatic, thoughtful, driven, everything I thought I wanted. He brought me home to meet his family, talked about marriage, our future. I fell fast, completely. But behind the perfect smile was a man with secrets. I ignored the signs, late night calls, sudden business trips, the way he flinched when I asked too many questions. Until one night, I found the truth, a message on his phone. Can't wait to see you again. I miss you. My stomach dropped. I kept scrolling. There were weeks of messages, with her, with others. He didn't love me. He used me, as his good girl image, his social leverage, and I played along, blindly. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I smiled, because I knew something he didn't. I was done being the victim. I was going to be the storm. But betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers. It started with Lena, the friend who swore she'd always be by my side. I found late-night texts between her and Mark. He said it was work, but I knew better. Then came a business trip that didn't exist. Perfume on his collar that wasn't mine. Hotel charges under her name. And the worst part? It wasn't an accident. It was a strategy. Lena knew everything, my insecurities, my dreams, my routines. She didn't just betray me, she studied me. I was humiliated, but not broken. That night, as I sat alone in the dark, my pain turned into something colder, resolve. I began investigating, quietly, patterns, receipts, emails, call logs. I mapped it all out. Turns out it wasn't just them. Eric, Mark's business partner, he once called me by the wrong name, a name I found in a hidden email thread. Laura, another friend. She always knew things I hadn't shared. It was a network of liars, smiling in my face while stabbing my back. My living room turned into a caseboard, pins, notes, strings. I wasn't paranoid. I was prepared. But the real crack came with Maya, my oldest friend, my rock. I showed her everything, the emails, the photos. I said, they used me. She looked me in the eye and said, Val, maybe you're imagining things. You overthink. And that was it, that single sentence. Her new necklace. I had seen it before, in Mark's apartment, a year ago. She wasn't just uninvolved. She was involved. Every shoulder I cried on was part of the show. I didn't cry that night. I wrote plans, names, moves. I set a trap, told Mark I was flying out to visit my sister for the weekend. Instead, I stayed behind. I watched him meet her, Lena, at a downtown hotel. I didn't feel heartbreak. I felt confirmation and power. I wasn't just betrayed, I was targeted. And now I would become their consequence. They thought they knew me, that I'd stay silent, crumble, that I was soft. But they forgot one thing. I remember everything, their emails, their fake trips, their plans. I archived every lie, time-stamped, screenshotted, stored, and I waited. Not for revenge, for impact. When Mark's company reached its peak, when investors lined up and reporters praised his clean image, I made my move. One press briefing, one leaked folder, and everything came crashing down. The company imploded, partnerships dissolved, names exposed. Lena lost her job. Eric faced legal action. Mark? He begged. Not for forgiveness, but for silence. I gave him none. I moved away. New name, new life, peace. But I kept the box, with photos, letters, timelines, labeled truth. Because you don't always burn the past. Sometimes you preserve it. To remind yourself who you were and who you'll never be again. My name is Valerie, and this time, no one writes my ending but me. The box stayed untouched for years, labeled truth, hidden in a closet of my old apartment. I didn't think I'd ever return to Chicago, but life has a way of pulling threads. A letter from the landlord. Unclaimed property in storage. I flew back, for closure, just to collect what I thought no longer mattered. But that's when I saw her, a young woman, maybe mid-20s, talking to the new tenant, her eyes full of confusion, fear, the kind of look I once had. She said, "There's a box here with photos, timelines, names. Did you leave this?" I paused, then asked, "Why are your hands shaking?" Her lips trembled. "Because one of the names in that box is my fiancé." And just like that, the storm had found a new name. Her story isn't mine, but it starts the same way, with love, with trust, with lies. And this time, I won't be the main character.